That was like a weird update of craziness.
I like that.
I did
I
too.
wish it had like the Star Wars opening crawl. It was like a long time ago in a galaxy far away. This list sucks.
All
All right, kicking it off.
right.
This list sucks. This list sucks. This list sucks. This list sucks. It sucks.
What's up? I'm Mike.
I'm JB. This is This List Sucks. Here we are on a Monday night. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, absolutely. Back again on a Monday night after a busy weekend. What'd you have going on this weekend?
Busy weekend
Craziness?
for both of us. I had a solo acoustic gig on Friday night that I played. That was fun.
Nice.
And then Saturday, I just had some friends in from out of town, and we kind of did a nice little early fall bonfire. Had a good time with that.
Yeah, because it's gotten cool up there now, right?
You know, it's actually pretty chilly tonight, actually.
Is it really?
It's got to be like maybe 60 or something like that.
Wow. Love
yeah.
it.
Actually, 55 right now.
55 right now. See, this is the best time though. Like that fall sweater weather. It's absolutely, man, that's the king. That's the best.
Yeah.
That's what Iowa fall and spring, right? Like those are the jam.
I'm guessing it's hot as fuck down there still.
Yeah, like 92 today. Maybe 95 in the middle of the day today. Yeah, it was pretty insane. Pretty insane. So
pretty par for the course.
Yeah, I mean it pretty much falls in line. So okay, so musically you were busy out making music this weekend. Have you discovered anything new?
No. Listener of the show, Shane Parker, sent me a new Santana song that was just released that I didn't get a chance to check out, but he had some high praise for it. Yeah. But no, I didn't really check anything new release wise out this week. Did you?
No, because I didn't necessarily see anything really, really great that's come out in the past couple of weeks that's gotten me excited. Although I did, man, I'm trying to remember what it was. There is some stuff that's coming out soon. So that Silk Sonic, we talked about that a long time ago. Do you remember that? It was Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak. Do you remember us talking about that?
Absolutely. Yeah. That is that coming out this week?
That's actually, let me see if it has a release date on here. November 12th. So only a few weeks away from that. And that's actually, I'm actually really excited to hear the rest of that because I've loved every single that they've dropped off that. Just super catchy, wonderful hooks and kind of a good time. And then, of course, we would be remiss, and Lee Stamper would be super, super pissed at us if we didn't mention make sure that you're going out to visit onlylee.com. His subscribership has waned, so he's trying to be more adventurous. Check it out.
Yeah.
But he is also super excited about Let It Be Super Deluxe, which is that gigantor remaster of the Beatles. So
but still not naked.
No, it's not a naked remaster. So that to me is the unfortunate part. But at the same time, I'll go back and I'll re-listen to it because I'm sure that some of these are going to be demo tracks where you do lose some of that wall of sound. At least I hope you would.
Yeah. Maybe. And they're putting it on vinyl?
That I don't know. I know that it's a digital release, but I don't know what the situation on vinyl is going to be. I would assume that they would drop it on vinyl. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like a huge missed opportunity to not do so.
Yeah. You know what I did do though, because I was stupid. I came down here to Texas, and whenever I got down here, it was like the most fortuitously happy realization because I realized that I had left that Grateful Dead box set from Paris down here because I can't really listen to it at home because of how much Jen hates the Dead. And so I brought it down here and it's rad. I mean, man, it was so much fun to go back and revisit that. It was almost like it was brand new again.
Yeah, I've listened to that one. Like I probably spun that one. I mean, I've done it in its entirety once through, but I've done, certain discs out of it several times. So it's very, very good.
It's fun.
Very nice recording too.
Yeah, really like super high quality recording. The box set itself was put together beautifully. So
yeah, gotta love those big Grateful Dead box sets. They do a good job with those.
Absolutely. So some good things coming down the pipe. I think musically, of course, live concert wise, we got Halloween right around the corner, which man, that's exciting. Fall tour starts fuck, does this fall start tomorrow? Did it start tonight?
Oh,
Is there going to be a new Fish show tomorrow?
That might very well be. I kind of haven't been following in the last couple of weeks. I know that the Dead's already out on their fall tour.
Yes, I think that Fish starts on the 15th. I think Fish starts this Friday.
Yeah, it starts. I just looked it up. So
nice. Yeah. So you and I, we got Halloween coming up. Production manager and I, Justin, have Arizona the week before that Halloween run.
Yeah.
And then if you're local to Des Moines and you enjoy jam bands, keep an eye out if you haven't already bought tickets, because there's a bunch of like smaller midweek shows that are coming through Woolies, which are really, really good. So Pigeons Playing Ping Pong is one of those shows. Spafford is one of those shows. And I want to say that there was another one that snuck in somewhere too. And another friend of the show, Sean Smith, will probably correct me on who that was and where they were supposed to be. But I mean, really good kind of midweek shows coming up, you know?
Yeah, I mean, Spafford and Pigeons are both bands that are really worth going out to catch.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I keep thinking about going out onto like that Bands in Town app and submitting a request for J-Rad to come to Woolies.
That's like a feature on there you can request.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you can request the band to come to your town.
That would be
I don't know that they ever look at that, but maybe. I mean, maybe a band like J-Rad would want to pick up a show between the Sylvie and St. Louis.
I don't see why not. I mean, on like a weekday or something. That's
exactly, dude. Pick up a Wednesday show.
Tuesday, Wednesday. That's when we're gonna get all those people, you know,
exactly. I'm fuck it, dude. I'm gonna do it. Like literally the worst thing they're gonna do is be like, Des Moines sucks.
Tom Hamilton, who plays guitar in J-Rad, is the lead guitar player. He has another band called Ghostlight, and they've come through Des Moines. Actually, they played most recently at the Vaudeville Muse. May it rest.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say, right? R.I.P. Vaudeville.
Yeah. Sad deal for the Des Moinesians.
Yeah, it sucks whenever you lose venues. And I mean, honestly, Des Moines is probably one of like plenty of towns that lost venues due to COVID. So
undoubtedly,
bummer.
Absolutely, no getting around it.
Well, should we dive in? Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I mean, I don't see any reason why not. Yeah.
So again, for those just jumping in here, we are going through Rolling Stone's list of the greatest albums of all time. 500 are listed, and we're picking it up at number 290 today, covering 5. So number 290. Am I 531 today, Mike?
I think yes. I think you need to be, because I'm still getting mine pulled up.
Okay, well, I'm ready. So 290 is Outkast, Speakerboxx / The Love Below. For a decade, Outkast were a duo defined by dichotomies: regional versus celestial, order amid chaos, blackness, and the universal. On their 5th studio album, that tension could no longer be contained on one CD. Big Boy's verbal funk overflowed on Speakerboxx, his half of the double disc set, while Andre 3000's inner crooner exhaled like never before on The Love Below. It was a gamble to break up their twin alchemy this way, but in dividing themselves, Outkast conquered. America fell as deeply in love with the borderless pop bliss of Hey Ya as it did with the slick talk and soulful horns on The Way You Move.
This is the way you move. Such a great song.
That is a great song, and that was just to kind of go against what they were just saying in the description. I mean, I don't really feel like they necessarily like split, you know, they said it was a gamble to break up the alchemy, but I feel like it was totally incestuous, and they had tons of presence on each other's records, you know. So to me, it's just like a cool way to feature each guy on each one. But I felt like there were tons of Andre 3000 on Speakerboxx.
So Andre is actually only on 3 songs on Speakerboxx.
Really?
He's on Ghetto Music. Like he's on the hook in Ghetto Music. He's on Unhappy, I think. And then you got to go all the way out to like Last Call, I think, to get his 3rd feature. But yes, that's a true story. No, he's not.
Oh.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
But here's the thing, like when you read about this album, You know, there was and Big Boy even has a line. I'm trying to remember which song it was in. I think it's in Tomb of the Boom where Big Boy talks about how everybody's trying to create beef between him and Dre, even though there's no beef. So even within the context of the album, like he was dispelling these myths that just because they created the album the way that they did, that there was some type of rift between them. Because if you like, at least from what I read, from interviews from both of them, they were still talking with each other. They were still giving each other their music for criticism and to help to improve it. It just wasn't one of those deals where they sat down together and wrote every single song together. Does that make sense?
Which is okay. It feels like a natural evolution to me. And I mean, you'd think if they were having a real beef, they probably just wouldn't make an album together. You know?
Right? Like, who the fuck would go through the trouble of trying to create a double album of this scope if you fucking hated the other guy?
Yeah, people just like drama. They just want to feed on it, create it where it doesn't exist.
Okay, so did you like one better than the other?
I like the Love Below better.
Why?
I love like the like they said, the inner crooner thing. I just loved how it felt so vintage. I loved all the jazziness to it. Not that there wasn't like a jazziness to Speaker Box, but I mean, yeah, and my favorite songs were on that one. Although there were plenty of tunes off on Speaker Box that I absolutely loved. You know, tons of 4-star tunes. I think maybe even a 5-star tune on there for me. But yeah, like by far the majority of my favorite tunes on the album were on the Love Below, and I just love the timelessness of it, the swing big band numbers, and yeah. And I love Andre 3000. I love his voice, the way he did his vocals on that with all the layering, you know, all the falsetto and then the low voice layering and stuff. But I love the whole thing, really. But if I had to pick a side, it would be Love Below for me. You opposite?
Man, I don't know that I could pick a side, because to me, like, you have to have this whole thing to get Outcast. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because the first half of it is like, I love ghetto music, because that to me, like, ghetto music sets the whole tone for Speaker Box. You know, like it's it's the ATL fucking rolling in my caddy. Killer Mike features like all throughout Speaker Box, and there's nothing better to me than Big Boy with Killer Mike. Like, I love the way those two.
I know you're a Killer Mike fan.
Love Killer Mike, but then you get to the Love Below after that, and it's like it's fucking wonderful. Like, it's every bit as good as Speaker Box, but it's wildly fucking eclectic, you know, and that just reeks of Andre.
He's so talented.
Yeah, in terms of 5-star songs, for me, there was The Way You Move, because that is that's the banger off of Speaker Box, and then Hey Ya and Roses. Probably Roses really more than Hey Ya. Like, Hey Ya is fun and it's catchy and all, but Roses is clever as so much. Like, it's just so fucking clever, and I love it so much.
It really is. But yeah, I think Hey Ya, I mean, for me, it has to be a 5-star tune too, just with the impact it's had. You know, I mean, the whole shake it like a Polaroid picture thing is just like a thing at this point, you know?
Yeah, it's like it became iconoclastic, right? Like, it just became so iconic. And then the music video for that was a fucking riot. Like, so much fun in that music video. So
when you can have something like that that's like so impactful that it's basically just severed from the song at this point. It's become its own thing, like you said, you know, worthy of recognize. But so actually looking through, I don't think I had any 5-star songs on Speaker Box, but I had tons of 4-star. And I mean, I'm sure I could have, you know, been convinced to give a 5th star to a couple of these, but like The Way You Move was definitely a 4-star song for me. Ghetto Music was, Unhappy was, Bowtie was, even The Rooster. I loved all of those, you know. And then I had 3 5-star tunes on Love Below. I had Hey Ya, Roses, and this is probably kind of an oddball pick, but I gave 5 stars to My Favorite Things.
Holy fuck, I forgot to flip to that side. I did the exact same thing.
Did you really?
Yeah. Fuck yeah, dude. It's
That
so
was
brilliant.
incredible.
Like him covering Rodgers and Hammerstein in that manner was so brilliant, dude.
Yeah.
So
And it's
brilliant.
absolutely virtuosic in every sense of the word. You know,
Yeah.
the guy who played piano on that, like I wrote his name down, I think Kevin Kendrick.
Kevin Kendrick, yeah.
Mind blowing, you know. And
Is
it
Kevin
reminds
Kendrick the guy that played piano in that Pixar movie too? Soul?
Oh, Soul? I'm not sure. Not sure about that.
That'd be rad if it
Know
was.
that. Yeah. I kept thinking of Robert Glasper. You familiar with him?
No, who's that?
He's like a neo soul R&B kind of producer and slash instrumentalist. And he I mean, when I was listening to that version, I kept thinking that he must have been on it. He's a piano player, and he just does very similar stuff to that, like similar of that like that upbeat feel to it, but like neo soul, but at the same time, it's like incredibly virtuosic and really fast blazing drums and crazy piano lines and stuff. And I thought maybe he was even like on that song, listening to it. But so if you like that, you got Robert Glasper.
That dude totally crushed. John Baptiste is the pianist that played in that Pixar movie. But nonetheless, yeah, total fucking 5-star banger. And I remember whenever I was like flipping through Wikipedia, because I always look for writing credits, you know, and I got to that one and it's all Rodgers and Hammerstein. And I was like, what the fuck, dude? Like, did he sample that? Like, what is this going to be? And then whenever it played, I was like, oh, fucking cool.
Oh, that song. Yeah.
Because this record is so long. Like,
yeah.
I don't know that
it's
I've
over 2
ever
hours.
listened. I don't know that I've ever listened to this whole fucking thing before this adventure.
I definitely had not listened to the whole thing.
I mean, I know that I'd listened to all of Speaker Box before, and I feel like I had to have listened to all of the Low Below at some point in time, but I definitely wasn't. If I had, I wasn't in a spot where I was more willing to appreciate something like My Favorite Things. But hot damn, like, that's the one listen.
It was fucking wild. It might be, you know, whenever we go back and continue with the bonus episodes, listen to one, because you've heard Roses, you know, you've heard Hey Ya, obviously.
I fucking guarantee you haven't heard this shit unless you're a huge aficionado of Outkast and of this particular record. But
yeah, for sure.
Okay, so did you add it to digital? Would you buy the vinyl? What do you want to do with it on the list?
Yes to both. I mean, this is a great record, you know.
Well, don't worry, the vinyl is a box set.
Do you have it?
No, but each one of these would be like 2 fucking LPs.
2 or 3. Yeah, exactly.
So this is literally going to be like a 4 or a 5 LP set if you can find it. And I know that you can find it because I've seen it before, but it just sounds terrifying to try and even purchase. Fucking records falling all over the place all the time.
You need to bring a friend to help you carry it. You know? But yeah, I mean, I love it. Definitely think it belongs on the list. It's a really unique piece of music, you know.
I love that it's pretty different than hip hop too, you know, than all the other standard hip hop that they've had on the list thus far. This is, I mean, it's out there, you know.
You definitely cannot pigeonhole this into hip hop.
And shout out to Doom
on the list, but I'm not against it being this high.
Yeah, that's where I'm at too. Like, I don't dislike its spot. We have or have not had Stankonia yet?
Have not.
Okay, we have not seen Stankonia yet. Okay. Because I'm thinking about where is that going to land. I suspect that's going to land really, really high. We already know that Aquemini is ridiculously high. Not ridiculously high. It's super, super high because that's the one that made all the headlines when this list first came out. Are you familiar?
No. So I'm not familiar with Stankonia either.
Oh man. So Aquemini is definitely my favorite Outkast album. And I want to say in the first list in 2003, they ranked it like 490 or maybe it was 499 or something like that. But this year it's moved up to 49.
Holy shit, man.
Yeah. And everybody was like, what the fuck? Like, how in the fuck do you go from like 490 to 49?
Well, I mean, it was probably
to the next.
You said it was 2003 was when the first.
Yes, exactly.
Well,
When there was
it was
almost
probably-
no hip hop representation, you know.
It was probably pretty new at the time on that list, right? And now it's kind of had time to season a little bit, and
there's definitely seasoning that's going on. Yeah, that's true.
more of an impact.
Yeah, absolutely. I hadn't even thought about the seasoning argument, but you're absolutely right. But by that same token, that would be like us coming back to some future list and Harry Styles going from 490 up to like 32. And I don't know that I see Harry Styles going that.
How do we know, man? Maybe in
fuck?
like 50 years it'll be number one, and everyone will be like Harry Styles is the greatest record ever made.
Counting down the days. Yeah, listen, I'm with you. I mean, I definitely added it to digital. I'm a big Outkast fan as it is. I'm glad that I spent more time with this record because I'll definitely go back to it more, especially Speaker Box. And yeah, I'm cool with where it's at too, especially as the first Outkast, because we're gonna get more, and they're gonna be some of those I think are gonna be substantially higher, especially.
So there's definitely two more Outkast records on this list, huh?
Probably only 2 more Outkast records on this list. I mean, the only because they would only be missing AT Aliens, which I mean, I like AT Aliens and people like it, but it's not necessarily one of their more acclaimed releases. And then their first disc, which I can never pronounce the title because it's like 6 words all mashed together, and it's like Cadillac Bumpa Streeta Music something. I don't know. Southern Cadillac Playa Music Style or something. I can never remember what the hell it is. It's wild though.
Southern Cadillac Playa Music Style?
Yeah, something like that. But I mean, we're gonna get a couple more, so I'm cool. I'm cool with this, and I dig it. Do you want me to read Rexy's comments? Because we got Rex comments. Okay. So Rex says, I fucking have loved this 2-disc set since it came out. 2 fantastic albums showing off both the duo's personalities. Speaker Box being the Southern hip hop album with a little P-Funk in it, and Love Below being a psychedelic pop funk tour. That's actually a great description. The lyrical ingenuity and production of it is incredible, with samplings from Patti LaBelle, Ghetto Boys, Aaliyah, and John Coltrane. Every track is a head nodder. It's no Dungeon Family nor Equimini, but it's goddamn Outkast. Buy this immediately. I love this album. I'm ashamed I hadn't listened to it in ages. Yeah. I feel you there, Rexy.
Goddamn Outkast. Southern playlist of Cadillac music.
Okay. See, it wasn't nearly as complex as I was making it out to be.
It took me a few minutes to work out there.
Okay, so I'm not a lunatic, right?
I was doing that the whole time you were reading Rex. I was trying to figure out how to do
that. All right, let's move on because I'm so excited to talk about this album. This might be the one I'm most excited about this week. 289, the 1995 release, Bjork's album Post. Rolling Stone says, quote, I have to recreate the universe every morning when I wake up, end quote, Bjork said, explaining her second solo album's utter lack of musical inhibition. Post bounces from big band jazz, It's Oh So Quiet, to trip hop. These modern things seem to be both of those things at once. Lush and disorienting, dissonant yet ensnaringly lovely, it proved the Icelandic pixie who dazzled MTV viewers fronting the Sugar Cubes was in fact one of the 90s truly boundless musical thinkers. Fun fact, for her vocals, Bjork extended her mic cord to a beach so she could sing to the sea. Listen, I don't know if you read that before or if you tried to fact check any of that, but I didn't see anything like that about her taking a fucking microphone out to the sea.
I didn't come across anything about that in my readings.
I'm not trying to discount Rolling Stone or anything. I'm sure that they fact checked themselves too, but I didn't even fucking hear that anywhere.
Is to discount Rolling Stone?
I mean, that's true. They're shitheads, but what are we splitting hairs over? But so were you familiar with this? Had you heard this record before? Yeah, of course, right?
I mean, not like the record all the way through. I'd heard some of the tunes for sure. I mean, but I hadn't like sat down and listened to it all the way through. Did you? Were you already familiar with it?
Had you had much experience with Bjork
think we lost you there for a second, Mike. Well, we'll wait a second to see if he comes back on here. We might have to restart the stream. Anything? Talking about Bjork. Sorry, guys. Brief technical difficulties here. Sit tight. Well, we'll wait for Mike to come back. I'm going to read Rex's thoughts on Bjork here, and we'll see if he comes back on. And then me and Michael kind of continue to talk about Bjork when he gets it back on the stream here. So, okay. So Rex thought on Bjork. Didn't think I'd find this album so high on the list, but here we are, Rolling Stone. Here we are. It's a great album with many eclectic genres: Eurodance, big band, sad ballad. However, we're getting too low on the list for some dark horse albums to be taking up these spots. Buy the album, yes. 289, maybe.
Oh, son of a bitch, that Rex. Yes. Yeah, I finally reloaded. Oh, damn you, Rex Todd. Damn you.
So Rex thinks it's too high.
Yeah, he does think it's too high. What did you think?
He likes it. Well, I just wanted to get Rex's thoughts, out of the way real quick while we're waiting for the whatever, who's ever internet, probably mine, to figure out that situation.
I doubt it, dude. You managed to always get fish tickets. I always managed to get shut out. It's clearly my bargain basement Walmart internet.
Well, whatever the case, we're back on. So crisis averted.
Yeah. Okay. So tell me what you think.
I loved most of the record for sure. There were, there's some real avant-garde experimental shit on here, which I will always encourage. I think that there are certain songs that it worked out better on for me than others, but the songs that I loved, I really, really loved. And the song, probably my favorite song was actually not experimental or, avant-garde at all, which was It's Oh So Quiet. That had to be my favorite tune on the entire record. I love the way her voice sounds. It has this weird little quality to it that almost sounds like she's out of breath, but she's like putting all that she possibly can from her throat into the words that she's saying. And I just love it. I mean, really, really love her voice.
I mean, I would have to go back and do some serious counting, but so I didn't listen to Bjork until I saw her perform, and it was right after she released this record, and it was at the Free Tibet concert in Golden Gate Park in San Francisco that the Beastie Boys put on, and she opened that set with Army of Me, and I remember thinking to myself, what the fuck is happening here? Like, there's this little person bouncing up and down on the stage, and that song totally crushed, and I never had any clue that Bjork even existed. And then I immediately went out and I bought this disc, and I listened to it a lot. I mean, I listened to it a lot when I was coming out of high school there for a couple of years.
That's a great track. Army of Me.
I know. It's so fucking good. And especially lyrically, because lyrics on that song are nothing that I necessarily ever paid a whole lot of attention to. But like when I was going through it in this, I loved the lyrics to that song. They're so good. I mean, the lyrics throughout this whole thing, I think, are really spectacular, except some of the really avant-garde shit that she was doing. But even those, I found so much beauty in the music that I was like, this album hooks me. This album hooks me in a lot of ways the same way that Portishead does, if that makes sense.
There are similar elements, I would say. I mean, not the same kind of music necessarily, but there are similar elements. There's definitely trip-hop elements to the Bjork stuff. But Army of Me is an example of how she just takes these melodies that shouldn't actually be a hook and somehow makes them into a fucking hook. The main chorus on that, if anybody else was doing that, you'd be like, what the hell are they doing? Why are they those notes in that order? But somehow it gets stuck in your head. You know what I mean? The way that she does it. And I think it's just entirely in her,
Yeah, I agree. This album is also rife with my favorite sound, my favorite bass tones. Does that make sense? And I'm specifically thinking about specific types of house music and trip hop and rap from the mid 90s. They had a really distinctive tone to the bass on the tracks, and it's all throughout this album. And it's I don't know, it's like a time capsule whenever I hear that particular like mid 90s kind of dance trip hoppy type of bass. It's transportive in so many ways, and to a really good place too. You know, like they're very fond memories for me, so it's fun. But Army of Me, 4 stars. I gave 4 stars to Hyperballad. I gave 4 stars to It's Oh So Quiet. I gave 4 stars to Isabel. I gave 4 stars to Possibly Maybe. So Possibly Maybe is, to me, that's by far and away the most beautiful song on the album. It's one of the most beautiful songs I think ever been recorded. It's so wonderful.
That is like a spooky sounding song. You know, I love the background reverb be like possibly maybe.
Yeah. But then like there's so many layers in there too, like the electronic layers and the ambient layers. It makes me say on the record on this podcast, thank you, Brian Eno, you fuck. You know, because like without
Brian Eno,
without Brian Eno, I don't think you get Bjork making music like this. You know,
I don't think so either. Yeah. So, and there's a lot of industrialness to this. I definitely hear a little bit of some parallels to Reznor here for sure, especially in like I think Army of Me is a good example of that. Yep. Also, like I Miss You, that track. So the last 2 songs were maybe like I still starred them. Like I gave them each a star, but I was just maybe not understanding them as much with just the 2 or the probably 3 or 4 listens that I gave it. Maybe if I like really sat down and listened to this a bunch, I could start to figure those ones out. But those ones were a bit of a hard egg to crack for me personally. Cover Me and Headphones I'm talking about.
Yeah, and I didn't put any stars next to Cover Me necessarily. You know, I didn't write bad notes next to it. Like it was really short. It was really beautiful. I do like that you get like that seamless transition from Cover Me into Headphones. And I did put a couple stars next to Headphones. I'd like that. But to me, the more challenging tracks that she released on this record were the ones that she produced with Tricky, which Enjoy. So Enjoy was one of the tracks that she did with Tricky, and then Headphones was the other track that she did with Tricky. And Enjoy is right after It's Also Quiet. It's good. I love there's almost every single one of these songs I wrote, man, I love this beat. Man, I love this beat, you know, but that's
there's some good beats on there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you imagine a collaboration between Bjork and Trent Reznor? That would be amazing. You get some of his production work, but with Bjork's voice.
Yeah, it'd be really, really wild. And especially with how kind of haunting she can make her voice.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be wild.
God, I can see that being a really, really solid combination.
Yeah.
Stars, Oh So Quiet for me. And also I gave 4 stars to Isabel. That was my second favorite tune for sure.
I loved Isabel. Yeah.
Yeah. That was like... It was like this crazy industrial sound, but with tribal type percussion on the verses. And then the chorus, it like gave way to this gorgeous string part. It almost sounded like a fantasy movie.
I know. Like that's exactly. The chorus. Yeah, it was like the never-ending story, but the song version, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah.
I loved it. Really, really good.
I already had this as part of my digital library. I have not picked this up on vinyl for some reason. And I feel like I've seen it too. And now that I've revisited it like this, I'm not gonna pass it up again. You know what I mean? It's too good.
Yeah. I'll snag it too for sure. And I did add to digital as well. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad I finally kind of delved into a Bjork record. I had heard of some songs and I think I knew a couple of tunes. I knew I'd heard Army of Me before. But are you familiar with any other Bjork records at all?
I've listened to Debut, which was the one that came out before this, and that one's really good. That one's got Human Behavior on it, which Human Behavior is kind of fun, especially if you dig more of those kind of tribalistic type beats, because that's really what that is. It's also a super fun music video.
So do you think this is the only one on here? I'm just not familiar enough with her discography to say either way.
Man,
maybe
I think yeah. I mean, I think that it very well could be. It very well could be. If it's not, I would have to say that Debut would be the other one. If there's going to be another one.
Jesus, dude, how do you say her last name?
I don't know, man.
You ever tried to pronounce that shit?
Oh, fuck no. I can't even pronounce a goddamn Outcast record name. How the fuck am I going to do Bjork's last name?
Oh my God, man. That is a mouthful. I think she's a really unique individual, though. I kind of dig her vibe. I think she's super experimental. I like that she's willing to take risks like she did on this record here for sure. And I mean, mostly they paid off, I would say. Some really good stuff. Like I dug it for sure. I think it belongs on the list.
Yeah. Do you like its placement? You want to move it up? You want to move it down? You want to have it stay put? I'm in the stay put camp myself. I like the placement of it. I mean, right, just shy of almost the damn near middle of the pack. I like that in a top 500.
I feel like I've been saying this a lot lately. Maybe I'm being kind of a hater, like with just most records. That I feel like every record I'm like, move it down, you know. But that was going to be my immediate response. Was like, maybe move this one down a little bit, you know, maybe 20 and 30 spots down, I would say.
Well, the thing is, though, JB, is that you're not like when we say that, and I do feel like you've said it more than I have recently, but it's not as though we're being unrealistic, because in the first 100 or 200 records that we did, how many records were we like, this is so fucking great and I can't believe it's this low? It needs to move up 100. It needs to move up 150. You know, so I want to see this record closer to number 300. You know, so realistically, I think that you're just fine saying, hey, these fuckers got to move down, because you've already got records that you've moved up. So fuck them.
True. I can only have so many records this high.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
So I'd probably knock it a few pegs down, but I mean, really high praise for this one. This is great. This is worth listening to.
Yeah, definitely worth a gander if you haven't gone down the Bjork road.
Indeed.
So,
and I already did read Rex. Did you catch most of that, Mike?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So he likes all the genres on it, but he doesn't want it this high. But he likes it. He would buy it.
Fucking haters. Haters.
Motherfucker.
My player haters.
Move on?
Yeah, go for it.
Damn haters. 288 is the Modern Lovers' self-titled record, 1976. Jonathan Richman moved from Boston to New York as a teenager in hopes of sleeping on Lou Reed's couch. That influence shows on the two-chord anthem Roadrunner. Recorded in 1972, but not released until 1976, Lovers turned the tough sounds of the Velvets into an ode to suburban romanticism. Rock and roll was about stuff that was natural, Richman said. I wasn't about drugs in space. Songs like Pablo Picasso, Girlfriend, and Dignified and Old touched generations of punk and indie rock innocence. This was the first time listening for me.
Yeah, me too. Never heard of these guys.
Never heard of these guys. I mean, I don't think I had either, but I'm going to be a hater again. I didn't dislike this record, but throughout most of it, and I didn't realize how much he was basically trying to copy Lou Reed, I guess, but I was like, this is just basically discount Velvet Underground. It's kind of how I felt through some of it. You know, at least there was some stuff that was funny that I ended up liking a little bit, but more than I expected at first. But that was my initial reaction.
Has that changed? I mean, just because you read a description from Rolling Stone?
No, I mean, if anything, it's cemented.
That's what I was just gonna say. Like, if nothing else, then reading that description for you should have been like, it should have been like fulfilling. You should have been like, fucking thank God I'm not the only one.
Yeah, basically. Did you feel that way?
I never made the connection with Velvet Underground, but I think that's just because I've never gotten deeply lost in the Velvet Underground's catalog. I enjoy Lou Reed. I enjoy the Velvet Underground. It's just never been, I don't know. Like I said, I've never gotten lost in it, you know, so that wasn't my immediate touchstone when I was listening to this, but, it's not really my thing, you know, like honestly, what it made me want was it made me want to listen to the Stooges. And when you
Okay,
think about
that
this,
was the other comparison that I was making a lot too.
yeah, because the Stooges released that self-titled record in 67 or 69? Do you remember? I feel like it was 69.
69, I think, yeah.
I feel like it was 69 too.
But yeah, I made a comment in my notes, even as early as Astral Plane, and I was just thinking, like, this style has been done before, just like this, and this is not necessarily my favorite example of this style. I would much prefer the Stooges or the Velvet Underground. Is what I wrote, basically word for word there. So
yeah, and it's funny because I loved the Stooges when we listened to that way back when at like 460. And I'm going to tell you right now, not to hate on any of this, but I'll just take a clean trade. You can plug the Stooges in at 288 and plug this guy back in at like 460 or 463 or whatever, and this list is money,
Yeah.
And that's really how I feel about it, because it felt like the Stooges was like raw but really, really original, and this, it's just not. It feels like, it just feels like a weird ripoff.
Yeah, it does. Not to say it's bad. I mean, a lot of it feels really good. It's very simplistic instrumentation, simple chord progressions, but it has a certain heartbeat to it that is not unenjoyable, that I can get behind for sure. And there was some good stuff.
Vocals are kind of tough though, right?
Yeah, the guy was a little annoying to me.
Okay, good. That's where I was too.
I did think Pablo Picasso was pretty funny.
Yep. Yeah. I loved the guitar on that. I thought the guitar was super funny.
It's like Pablo Picasso was never called an asshole. Like you. That's what he said. Like, musically, highly simplistic. I mean, that was basically just a vamp on one chord the entire song, and most of their chords were either that, or maybe other songs were either that or maybe two chords at the very most. Throw a third one in there.
Yeah. Just not.
I like Girlfriend.
If I remember, that song was actually lyrically, it was my least favorite by far. I thought it was just dumb.
Yeah, I mean, the lyrics are not intelligent. He goes GIRLFAFRAN. That's how he's telling girlfriend. But like, musically though, decent little hook on it, and there was a third chord in that one, so
that's fucking exciting. Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed Hospital.
I like Old World. Okay, you liked Hospital? Yeah,
I did like Hospital. The song that I put the most stars next to, it's not a good song, but I probably liked it more than any other one, and that was Astral Plane, which is really kind of like a terrible vapid song. Like, it's so dumb, but I liked the hook on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I didn't give that one any stars. The guy was just not coming across likable lyrically, or the way he was singing on that one at all.
I know.
I guess sleep with me. I'll meet you on the astral plane.
I mean, he was exuding rock confidence is what he was doing in a severe way.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Oh, so, man.
Yeah, I don't know, man. This is way too high for me, and I like your idea of swapping it with the Stooges, because that was a great album.
Yeah. Rex says,
read Rex?
Yeah, Rex says, who? All right. Lead singer sounds like a mix of Dire Straits lead singer and early Tom Petty. I mean, I can kind of hear that. I don't even know what genre of music this is. Probably what hardcore Mormons call, quote, heavy metal or baby first punk rock album. This is the kind of album. Yeah, this is the kind of album I was just mentioning in my previous comment. Doesn't deserve to be on the list, or doesn't deserve to be this low on the list, closer to 400. Thanks, Rolling Stone, for proving me right about this bullshit list again. Yeah. So I think this is the first time in a long time that we've all been in agreement. We're going to swap this fucker out with the Stooges. Rex, I'm speaking for you, assuming that you're good with moving the Stooges up significantly. I'm sure you'll let us know one way or another. But yeah, fuck this. And I'm not.
Dude,
I
I don't know. I
didn't.
can even take this off like all the way.
Are you? Listen, I'm
Maybe.
actually, yeah. Fuck that, dude. Like that. There needs to be room for Alice in Chains. There needs to be room for Flaming Lips, and it's not going to be with this thing on here. And fuck you, Modern
Yeah.
Lovers.
I
Super
mean, I
sorry.
didn't like despise my time listening to this, but best albums of all time. We don't have room for you, Modern Lovers. Sorry.
Yeah. Super
Try
duper
harder.
duper. Super duper sorry. All right. Should we move on to something that'll be, I think, a lot more interesting conversation actually between you and
I
I.
think
This
so.
will be fun.
Yeah, this is pretty like just ripping it apart.
Okay, 287. We're going to be talking about the Byrds from 1965. I believe their debut, right? I think it is. Yeah. Mr. Tambourine Man.
Yes.
Quote, wow, man, you can even dance to that, end quote, said Bob Dylan on hearing the Byrds' harmonized electric 12-string treatments of his material. Their debut album defined folk rock with LA studio savvy and ringing guitars. The Byrds hit #1 with their jangled up Mr. Tambourine Man, but as they soon proved, they were a whole band full of brilliant songwriters. Gene Clark wrote most of the album's highlights, like the moody Here Without You and the irresistible I'll Feel a Whole Lot Better. Go.
Yes.
What do you say?
This is a great one. Like, I really liked it. We talked about this a little bit earlier in the week, and we were talking about it's pretty interesting to listen to albums like this. I mean, and the Modern Lovers, for the like this close to albums like Bjork. Like
yes,
interesting.
it's a weird
pairing.
juxtaposition. It's a really, really weird juxtaposition when you see albums like that this close to each other.
But I dig this one. There's a lot of really, really good tunes on it, and there's a lot of Bob Dylan tunes, or like maybe 4 or 5 to be exact. But as a percentage of the record, it's pretty high. You know, but there's also some very, very good original tunes on this one. I think when we did the Full Moon Fever, Tom Petty recently, I didn't realize at the time that I'll Feel a Whole Lot Better was a Byrds tune. I thought it was original.
Oh my god!
You told me on the podcast.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
didn't realize before. So I had given it 5 stars. Like, this is a fucking great song. I loved it. And I gave this one 5 stars too, which makes sense because it's the original one. But that's a fantastic song. I really, really love that one. And you can really hear the Tom Petty influence on that one and on several others of these.
Yeah.
But you can also get a lot of Beatles throughout this, although maybe not as psychedelic,
Definitely not. Like, this is pop Beatles, right?
Yeah.
Super duper 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 super duper poppy Beatles. Which, if you're into the poppy Beatles, that works really well for you. If you're not into the poppy Beatles, you better get into them. Otherwise, you're going to hate this.
Yeah.
For the record, I didn't give any of these songs 5 stars.
I only gave that one. I think that is the best song on the record. I'll Feel a Whole Lot Better. And I think that to me, that's a really, really well written song. It's simple, but it's great.
It's yes, and I'm with you especially in terms of the original material. It's definitely the best song on the record. But Mr. Tambourine Man's a really good song. It's just not theirs. Spanish Harlem Incident, really good song,
really good,
just not theirs. So I also really, really liked All I Really Want to Do, which is another Dylan song. And I loved the opening on I Knew I'd Want You. And I think I Knew I'd Want You was an original track.
That was an original track, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean,
there were a couple other
covers that weren't Dylan, right?
Yes. Yeah, there was the Bells of Rimney, which is Pete Seeger along with Idris Davies. Yep. You familiar with Pete Seeger?
Man, I know the name, but I can't place it.
Just like classic folk Americana songwriter, like really, really prolific songwriter.
Okay.
And then there was Don't Doubt Yourself, Babe, which was written by Jackie DeShannon, who was one of the first female songwriters of the rock and roll kind of era. That's what I was reading about. But that's a really, really good tune too. I loved that one.
That one I wasn't so crazy about. I didn't put any stars next to it. It was okay. It was fine. The same with Chimes of Freedom, which was another Dylan tune.
The last Dylan tune, yeah.
Yeah, the last one. It was okay. I probably, just in terms of like covers that weren't Dylan, that Ray Charles cover at the end, We'll Meet Again, the fucking vocals on that were spectacular. I didn't put any stars next to it, but I really, really loved them. Like, I love the vocals a lot, you know.
And
Good
see,
harmonies.
that's one of the things I liked the most about this whole album was the vocal harmonies. And just to get these Bob Dylan tunes, but because you don't usually get vocal harmonies with Dylan, you know?
No. Yeah.
Almost never do you get any. So I mean,
Dylan builds melody through the band though in a weird way that almost creates the illusion of a vocal harmony. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, because the way that he uses his instrumentation, I think, is really, really unique, and it's unique to his voice too. But
definitely, but yeah, it was cool to get the Dylan tunes, but with the harmonies. That's the biggest like differences I can see because for the most part, they're faithful covers. You know, they're not like taking a whole lot of artistic liberties with these tunes. They're pretty much just doing them, but in making them sound like the Byrds, like in terms of how they're harmonizing the vocals and doing the instrumentation, but they're not changing the feel of any of the tunes. They're not really changing the tempo as much at all.
When you listen to this as a guitar player, like as soon as you hear it, are you like, oh man, that 12 string, it's really, really wild? Or am I just a moron for not being able to instantly recognize when they're playing a 12 string when the tone is this fucking jangly? Or is that the 12 string that makes it this jangly?
It's the 12 string that makes it that jangly. Yeah. So he's playing an electric 12 string. It's like a Rickenbacker guitar.
Rickenbacker. Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, but you got to remember that that's kind of what I do. So, so I'm like an unfair person to ask, but yeah, I definitely recognized it right away. It's just really, really, really resonant. It's almost mandolin-y, which is kind of why with good reason, because that's what a mandolin is. It's like the same concept.
To me, it almost sounds like an effect. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it almost sounds like
it's not like. Yeah,
that's basically what it does. That's essentially what it is. The guitar does is an analog chorus effect.
Yeah.
So it's basically double tracking the guitar. Like sometimes you hear guitars double track,
like an octave pedal, right? Yeah, it's like an octave pedal, right?
Yeah, sort of like the low 3 strings on it are octaves, and then the 3 treble strings are just unisons. So it's like literally just 2 of the exact same.
Okay, yeah. So it's like half octave pedal, half chorus. Exactly what you were talking about, depending on how you're playing those chords. Jeez, even crazier. Okay. All right. Well, thank you for not making me feel like quite the moron. But
no, you shouldn't feel like a moron. He plays this a lot though throughout. It's very common throughout this record.
Yeah, absolutely. What I mean, listen, I didn't add this to digital because this is not the type of album that I would listen to just on my phone. If I found it in a record store, I would definitely pick it up because I do enjoy this. But what do you want to do with this list wise? I'm just kind of curious.
I want to drop it down a little bit, especially given that it's just so many covers. But I could see this one staying on the list. I do think it's probably too high. I assume there has to be like another Byrds record on here. I don't know that for sure, but there's one that I can like see the cover in my head, but I can't think of what the name of it is. But I have it on vinyl, so I should dig it out and see. I might even see if I can just find it based on the cover art.
The Byrds played Turn, 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 right? That was a Byrds song?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, that's a super iconic song. I have but I'm so wildly stupid about the Byrds catalog too that there's no way that I could predict whether or not there would be another Byrds record on here. And especially if it's going to be higher than this one. You know what I mean? Because I think pretty high. Yeah, and I think I understand why this record is on here because I think that this is maybe the best example of the sound that they created because I feel like that's why it's here. I don't find it like outrageously compelling from a musical standpoint, but it's definitely iconic in that I think that these guys were basically like the first band in America that kind of recreated that poppy Beatles type of sound, right?
Yeah. The album that I was thinking of was Sweetheart of the Rodeo.
Oh,
and so
okay.
We'll see. Like that has Graham Parsons on it, along with the other guys in the Byrds.
Before he fucking burned himself up in a car fire.
No,
Wasn't that Graham
yeah,
Parsons?
Yeah, I think it was before he did that.
Yeah, that's probably a good thing. It's probably a good thing.
But I'm reading that one was that record was widely considered like the first example of country rock. So kind of
the rodeo one that you were talking about?
Yeah, the Sweetheart of the Rodeo.
Sweetheart of the Rodeo. Wow. Okay. Well, that could be fascinating then if we do come across that on the list. Like, I wouldn't be against hearing that first country rock album. That'd be fun.
But yeah, I would say that this one's too high for me. I think somewhere between 4 and 450 would be ideal. So I think it's way too high.
It's crazy for me to think that this isn't hanging around the same neighborhood as Surrealistic Pillow. Because
even when you put that comparison there, it's crazy that
right?
Swap those.
Because we literally, like, when we got to Surrealistic Pillow, we understood, like, we bought into this rationale that it was low because there were a couple of really, really good songs on there, but they wanted to put it on the list because it was representational of sound. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, that's exactly what this is.
Exactly.
You know? And I don't think that it's I don't think that it's 200 records better than what Jefferson Airplane was doing, quite frankly. Especially when Jefferson Airplane had Grace Slick, and I love Grace Slick's voice.
I think I'd probably argue that Jefferson Airplane is 200 records better than this one. I hate to say it. I like this, but
yeah, but when you think about it relative to Surrealistic Pillow, it gets really, really nutty.
Yeah, really it gets hard for me to rationalize that for sure.
Yeah. Well, okay, so how about I think it's your turn to read Rex.
I'll read Rex. Wow, really, Rolling Stone? This low on the list? How high were you guys? Seriously, you have some good shit, or those shrooms were hitting hard. I had this vinyl. I listened to it when I was a kid. The Byrds are a personal favorite of mine. They were one of the voices of the baby boomer generation. 287, 347. Yeah, that number makes a little more sense. So he still wants it on the list. He just thinks it's 60 records too high.
Again, now I'm curious as to what Rex thinks about the comparison between this and Surrealistic Pillow, because I think that's a really cogent comparison, and I'm curious to see what he says. What I also want to do though is talk about this next album. So
let's do it.
All right.
Oh, that's me, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
I was like, whenever you're ready,
go ahead, dickhead.
286 is Red Hot Chili Peppers, our first entry from them, Californication, 1999. Turning their focus completely to songs instead of jams, the Red Hot Chili Peppers steered frontman Anthony Kiedis' voice into a radio-friendlier wail on Californication. That and the reappearance of guitarist / Santi helped form fully composed songs such as Scar Tissue. When John gets excited, he's like 8 billion volts of electricity, said Kiedis. He was knocking things over. It was absolutely chaotic, like a little kid trying to set up a Christmas tree.
Or like a guitarist trying to come down.
Like a guitarist, trying to get more heroin.
Yeah, trying to get more heroin. He's like a monkey that can't come out of the box. No, so that description I actually love, because to me this album is only as spectacular as it is because of John Frusciante. Prove me wrong. I
think that most of the Chili Peppers is only as good as it is because of John Frusciante.
Yeah,
he's like it sucks every time he's left the band, which has been like twice. And I think
I know.
I think he's back in the band for the third time now.
He is back on the band for the third time now. They're getting ready to release another album, and it's like, fuck, thank God, we'll get some good Chili Peppers.
We'll get a good album. Yeah.
I don't want to shit too hard on Josh Klinghoffer though, because I did see the Chili Peppers a couple of times with him, and I wasn't disappointed, but I've also seen the Chili Peppers multiple times with John Frusciante, and John is just so much better. And to me,
how many times have you seen the Chili Peppers, dude?
5?
Wow.
Maybe, dude, maybe 6.
That's a lot of times. You go on Chili Peppers tour?
It's fucking fun. No. In fact, that same show that I saw Bjork at in '95, I also saw the Chili Peppers there. They were dressed up as light bulbs. It was fucking fantastic.
That was early.
That was Blood, Sugar, Sex, Magic, and they were fucking bonkers, dude. Because they were still playing a lot of
Chili Peppers record on this
yes. And to me, I think it's going to be the only other Chili Peppers record on this list, even though you seem to vehemently think that Stadium Arcadium is going to be on this list. I want you to be right.
Because I want to win.
You're not going to be.
I'd like to win at least one.
Okay, so his guitar playing is spectacular. To me, though, John Frusciante's vocals are that is my favorite part of this record, is his vocals, especially on songs like Scar Tissue, Man Alive.
Which part was he singing on Scar Tissue?
He's singing From a Bird's Eye View, or what does he say? From a God damn it. Hang on, let me find the lyrics. He's singing the backup in it. He's singing the backing chorus behind that. It almost sounds like it's a layer of Anthony Kiedis, but it's not.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was. I didn't realize there was Frusciante vocals.
No, that's John Frusciante singing backup vocals. That's what I'm.
Birds of shade, it's a long way
of you, and yeah.
Okay, I didn't realize that was him. Yeah, he's great. He's a really, really good vocalist too. That adds a whole other dynamic to
and now so now go back and listen to it though, and almost all of those backing vocals, if you listen really, really close, that's not Anthony Kiedis, and he's all over this record with those backing vocals. I'm telling you, dig into it because it's so good, and you can really pick it up. Because have you ever dug into any of the solo records that guy did when he was out on the street? Yeah, so don't listen to the ones where it's just noise because he's too fucked up, but find the ones where he sings on there too. And then when you listen to his solo stuff, then go back and listen to Chili Peppers, and it'll be painfully obvious to you, like which one is Kiedis and which one is John Frusciante.
Okay.
Awesome. Yeah. Love it.
There's a real interesting turn towards the melodic on this record compared to their old stuff, especially compared to Blood Sugar Sex Magic, which is just straight funk rock / funk rap / funk metal,
And One Hot Minute, which got really, really weird because of Dave Navarro. You know what I mean? When Navarro joined the band, the sound got fucking really, really weird on that record. And then they came back for this one. So it was nice.
Yeah. A lot of really, really beautiful kind of restrained melodies on this one. Scar Tissue being one, although Scar Tissue is definitely not my favorite at all. I like Scar Tissue, but I think there's better songs, which is weird because Scar Tissue is by far the most successful probably. But I think Other Side I find way better than Scar Tissue personally.
I think that song is every bit as popular as Scar Tissue. Does that make sense?
You think he was as popular?
Yeah. Yep, I do. And I think Californication is right up there as well with both of those songs, just in terms of popularity of the singles.
And I liked both of those better than Scar Tissue personally.
Man, I don't know. I love that chorus on Scar Tissue.
It's a beautiful chorus.
Just so beautiful. Yeah, just so beautiful. But listen, I also have 4 stars next to Other Side. I have 5 stars next to Californication. Dude, that opening track, Around the World, fucking the chorus on that is so good. And that's another one where you're getting harmonies between Anthony Kiedis and John Frusciante in there as well. Again.
And that song is all about Flea as well. I mean,
fuck yeah, dude.
Even from the very beginning with that crazy fuzz bass tone that he starts with.
Bass, yeah.
Yeah. So badass, man. The bass playing throughout this. I mean, Flea is the guy that's just been 100% consistent in the Chili Peppers. He always is putting out good shit on every Chili Peppers record, Yeah,
and it doesn't always have to be wild either. You know what I mean? He plays with this ridiculous level of emotion, I feel like, too, depending on the set and setting of what the song needs. It seems like he's always able to plug in exactly what the song needs. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, he's like very song serving. And
Mhm.
that's like can absolutely be said about Frusciante's guitar playing as well.
Yes, without a
He's
doubt.
about the simplistic, like a lot of times the little riffs he's playing are just, single note riffs. Like I feel like a lot of guitar players, they go to dress up like a lead part for a song and they're thinking, okay, here's a simple idea, but how can I make this more complex and add more notes to it and make it sound thicker and fuller? And Frusciante, it's almost like the opposite. He probably like came up with some kind of riff and he was like, all right, how can I simplify this? How can I distill it down to exactly the bare minimum that it actually is required here at this point in the song? He's totally content to play single note little melodies that are very, 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 very restrained and simple. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's easier for me to talk about the songs that I didn't like because really there were only a couple. I like Dirt. It's super funny and it's kind of goofy. It's too silly for me though lyrically, and so even though the music was fun and super funky,
Yeah, 0 stars for me. I didn't like that one either.
Yeah, and then Road
I
Trippin'.
think that this is a good example. You didn't like Road Trippin'?
I mean, it was all right. It was cool. Like it was pretty and it was mellow. I loved the guitar work on it, but it wasn't necessarily one that just kicked my ass. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Definitely. I do kind of think this is a good example of a record where like the B-sides are really not as good. Like the first half of this record is way better than the second half, in my opinion.
They're a lot different too. You know what I mean? Because there's some songs I really, really loved on the B side of this. Like This Velvet Glove stood out to me. I loved like the loud, quiet dynamics that were taking place in that song. I
That
thought
was all
Savior
on that song.
Yeah, I thought Savior was really nice.
It was
And I fucking loved Right on Time. It's
Yeah.
so funky, dude. It was like a disco send up,
Yeah. It's like a funk metal tune on the verses, and then it drops into a straight up house beat on the choruses.
That's exactly right. It's
Purple
exactly right.
Stain, that's straight up about a period blood stain, right?
Yeah, and yeah. Yeah, but I did like the guitar
Kind of
solo on that song.
lyrics.
Like
Yeah.
I was totally out on that song, but I put 1 star and then in parentheses right next to it, I put just for the guitar solo. Because I really did like the guitar solo on that song, but the rest of it, I'm fucking out.
Lyrics are just like, why is that what you wanted to write?
That's exactly right. I was just like, dude, I mean,
like, yeah, we get it. That happens. But like, why are you,
Yeah, do we really have to be singing about this? Really?
And the answer is no, we don't.
No, we absolutely do not. Speaking of opinions, Rex Todd says, God damn, I love this band. Every single element of their music contributes so well together. Their sound, aside from 2 or so albums, has not changed. Such an awesome album, especially the ridiculous guitar work of Flea and Frusciante. Although most of these tracks have been beaten to death by radio, if you remove the hits from this album, it's a solid album with the same sound from the mid-90s. That's super interesting. I mean, it would definitely lose a lot of firepower to me if you stripped away Scar Tissue, Other Side, and Californication. I wouldn't call it toothless, but it would be a way different album. He says, good spot for it. I pray more Red Hot Chili Peppers is on here. Wouldn't be surprised if there isn't, because this list is bullshit. Listen, you're definitely going to get Blood Sugar Sex Magic, Rex. You're definitely going to get that.
I think
probably not Stadium Arcadium, though.
I think you're going to get Stadium Arcadium, and I think it's going to be higher than Blood Sugar Sex Magic. It's like, dude, I'm going to go back to the same, like, look at how they ranked American Idiot and Dookie, man.
I mean, okay. I mean, listen, that's fair.
Because that's American fair. Idiot's on this list. Because it definitely is. And Dookie was way lower. I think that you could draw parallels straight from those albums, from band to band. Like Dookie is to Blood Sugar Sex Magic as American Idiot is to Stadium Arcadium. It's like the same thing.
No.
Well, At least I'm gonna win one here, so you got that going for me.
Yeah, we'll see. Hey-yo, hey-yo, snow, hey-yo, snow, hey-yo.
I got you, hey-yo.
Oh, hey-yo. Oh,
You better
hey-yo.
listen to what I say, yo.
Well played. Okay, should we preview next week?
Yes, let's do so.
All right.
So, Mike, I know you're really excited about 285, so why don't you read this 285?
Go first. Number 285. Listen, this is exciting. You thought that you were being a smartass. You're not. This is super exciting. The last fucking Big Star album that we're ever going to have to talk about is at number 285. The name of the album is Third/Sister Lovers. Mm-hmm.
Except for the posthumous compilation that is ranked much higher. 284, we have Merle Haggard, Down Every Road, the anthology that spans from 1962 to 1994 and is 5 hours long. So just a little preview. We are not going to be taking notes on every individual track because there are 100 of them.
That's right. The editorial comment is, we'll listen to this and we'll talk about it, but we're not taking notes. Like, not on a fucking 5-hour anthology that spans 3+ decades. All right, number 283, we're going to talk about Donna Summer's 1975 album Bad Girls.
282 is Frank Sinatra, In the Wee Small Hours. I'm excited about that one.
Are you? Nice. I'm excited about number 281, Harry Nilsson's album Nilsson Schmilsson from 1971. Dude, I just did the cold listen and I was so excited because when I saw Coconut, I was literally thinking to myself, fucking please, dear God, be the lime in the coconut song. Please be the lime in the coconut song. It's the fucking lime in the coconut song, son. It's on there.
That one?
Yes, dude, it's so fucking good too.
Sweet.
And if you think that song is weird, wait till you get to the rest of the album.
Fun. Well, I have not done that yet, so I'm looking forward to it. I'm gonna probably do that tomorrow.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, definitely a good time. I don't know what's going to happen from a programming note. I mean, we're going to get another episode. We're going to get another episode in. I don't know when. We JB and I got to confront schedules and stuff like that, but we'll be back. We'll be back to talk about the next 5 albums on this turd real soon.
Yeah, we will be. It very well might be like another Sunday or early next week kind of deal. We'll see. We'll see how things go.
Especially to get through 5 hours of the Merle. Oh, Merle.
Yes. 100 Merle Haggard songs. They'll start to bleed together after the first 4.
After the first 27, it's going to go smooth as shit out of a goose's ass.
Which is smooth if you haven't seen. So, all right, guys. Well, thanks as always for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. Send us an email at thislistsucks@gmail.com. Send us voice messages. We still have that as an option. We will play your voice on our podcast unless your name is, what was Lee Stamper's moniker?
Oh, Jesus. What the hell was that hillbilly's name?
Jimmy Smitherson.
Jimmy Smitherson. That's right. And listen, we also won't play John Gruden. Fuck you, John Gruden. If you send us a message, I'm going to tell you to go fuck yourself, you turd.
Yeah, fuck you, John Gruden. I don't know who John Gruden is, but all right.
He's the racist head coach of the Raiders that just got fired.
Yeah, we don't want any shit from you, John Gruden. You fuck right off.
Yeah, fuck. All right.
Yeah. All right, guys. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
This list sucks. This list sucks. This list sucks. This list sucks. It sucks.